Yeah, let me check with her. All right, I'll be back.
Okay.
Thank you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Please welcome to the evening chat session. This evening we have Shamala Mataji, who will be reciting in Sanskrit, and her son Samarth, who will be reciting in English. Can I please request Shamala Mataji, if you can please start with the invocation prayers. Hare Krishna.
Sure, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad Bhagavatam 1.18.18. Suta Uvacha. अहो वयं जन्मभृतोऽद्यः स्मा वृद्धानुवृत्त्यापि विलोमजाता दौष्कुल्यमाद्यं विधुनोति शीघ्रं महत्तमानामभिधानयोगा.
Translation. Sri Suta Goswami said, O God, although we were born in a mixed caste, we are still promoted in birthright simply by serving and following the great who are advanced in knowledge. Even by conversing with such great souls, one can, without delay, cleanse oneself of all disqualifications resulting from lower births.
Text 19. Kutah punargrunato nama tasya महत्तमैकान्तपरायणस्य योऽनन्तशक्तिर्भगवाननन्तो महद्गुणत्वाद्यमनन्तमातुः.
Translation. And what to speak of those who are under the direction of the great devotees, chanting the holy name of the unlimited, who has unlimited potency. The personality of Godhead, unlimited in potency and transcendental by attributes, is called Ananta, unlimited.
Text 20. एतावतालं ननु शोचितेन गुणैरसाम्यानतिशायनस्य हित्वेतरान् प्रार्थयतो विभूतिर्यस्याङ्घ्रिरेणुं चुषतेन भीप्सु.
Translation. It is now ascertained that He, the personality of Godhead, is unlimited and there is none equal to Him. Consequently, no one can speak of Him adequately. Great demigods cannot obtain the favor of the goddess of fortune even by prayers. But this very goddess renders service unto the Lord, although He is unwilling to have such service.
Text 21. अथापि यत्पादनखावसृष्टं जगद्विरिञ्चोपहृतार्हन्नाम्बः शेषं पुनात्यनन् पुनात्यन्यतमो मुकुन्दात् को नाम लोके भगवत्पदार्थः.
Translation: Who can be worthy of the name of the Supreme Lord but the personality of Godhead, Sri Krishna? Brahmaji collected the water emanating from the nails of his feet in order to award it to Lord Shiva as a worshipful welcome. This very water, the Ganges, is purifying the whole universe, including Lord Shiva.
622. Yatranurakta sada sahasaiva dhirabhyo व्यपोह्य देहादिषु सङ्गमूढं व्रजन्ति तत्पारमहंस्यमन्त्यं यस्मिन्न हिंसोपशमा स्वधर्मा.
Translation: Self-controlled persons who are attached to the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna can all of a sudden give up the world of material attachment, including the gross body and subtle mind, and go away to attain the highest perfection of the renounced order of life, by which non-violence and renunciation are consequential.
Text 23. Aham hi prishtoryamanō bhavatpir achaksha atmāvakamotra yavan nabha patantyatma samam patatrinas tatha samam vishnugatim vipaschita.
Translation: O sis, who are
Rishis, O Rishis.
O rishis, who are as powerfully pure as the sun, I shall try to describe to you the transcendental pastimes of Vishnu as far as my knowledge is concerned. As the birds fly in the sky as far as their capacity allows, so do the learned devotees describe the Lord, so as far as their realization allows.
Text 24 to 25. एकदा धनुरुद्ध उद्यम्य विचरन् मृगयां वने मृगाननुगतः श्रान्त क्षुधितस्तृष्टो भृशं जलाशयम् अचक्षाण प्रविशेष तमाश्रमं ददर्श मुनिमासीनं शान्तं मीलितलोचनम्.
Once upon a time, Maharaja Parikshit, while engaged in hunting in the forest with bow and arrows, became extremely fatigued and hungry and thirsty while following the stags. While searching for a reservoir of water, he entered the hermitage of the well-known Shamika Rishi and saw the sage sitting silently with closed eyes.
626. प्रतिरुद्धेन्द्रिय प्राणा मनोबुद्धिम् उपारतं स्थानत्रयात् परं प्राप्तं. Mataji, can you please scroll down? ब्रह्मभूतम् अविक्रियम्.
Translation: The Muni's sense organs, breath, mind, and intelligence were all restrained from material activities, and he was situated in a trance apart from the three: wakefulness, dream, and unconsciousness, having achieved a transcendental position qualitatively equal with the Supreme Absolute. Text
27. विप्रकीर्ण जताच्छन्नं रौरवेनाग्नेन च राजिनेन च विशुष्यत्तालुरुदकं तथा भूतम् अयाचत.
Translation: The sage in meditation was covered by the skin of a stag, and long compressed hair was scattered all over him. The king, whose palate was dry from thirst, asked him for water.
Text 28. अलब्धतृणभूम्यादिर् असम्प्राप्तार्घ्यशूनृतः अवज्ञातम् इव मानं मन्यमानश्चुकोपः.
The king, not received by any formal welcome by means of being offered a seat, place, water, and sweet address. This considered himself neglected, and so thinking, he became angry.
Text 29. Abhutapurva sahasa kshutribhyam arditatmanaha brahmanam pratyabhut brahman matsaro manyurevacha.
Translation: O Brahmanas, the circumstances having distressed him with extreme hunger and thirst, the king directed toward the sage with his anger and envy, which he had never before directed towards a Brahmana.
Text 30. Satu brahma rishiramshi gatasum uragam risha vinirgachan danuskotya nidhaya puramagataha.
Translation: while leaving, the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace.
Text 31. एष किं निर्भृष्टाशेष करणो मीलितीक्षणः मृषा समाधिरातो आहोस्वित् किं नु स्यात् क्षत्रबन्धुभिः.
Translation: upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue within himself whether the sage had actually been in meditation with senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been feigning trance just to avoid receiving a lower kshatriya.
Text 32. तस्य पुत्रोऽति तेजस्वी विहरन् बालकोर्बकैः राज्ञाघं प्रापितं तथा तातं श्रुत्वा तत्रेदमब्रवीत्.
Translation: the sage had a son who was very powerful, being a Brahmana's son. While he was playing with inexperienced boys, he heard of his father's distress, which was occasioned by the king, and then and there the boy spoke as follows.
Text 33. Aho adharma palanam pīvinām balibhujām iva swaminyagam yaddasanam dvarapanam shunam iva.
Translation: the Brahmana's son Shringi said, "Oh, just look at the sins of the rulers who, like crows and watchdogs at the door, perpetrate sins against their masters, contrary to the principles governing servants."
Text 34. Brahmanehi क्षत्रबन्धुर्हि गृहपालो निरूपितः सकथं तद्गृहे द्वास्ताः सभान्दं भोक्तुमर्हति.
Translation: the descendants of the kingly orders are definitely designated as watchdogs, and they must keep themselves at the door. On what grounds can dogs enter the house and claim to dine with the master on the same plate?
Hare Krishna.
That's it.
Thank you, Shamala Mataji. Very nice recitation. Over to you, Amogh Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Mataji. So beautiful recitations, English and Sanskrit. So wonderful. Okay, so we shall enter into Srimad Bhagavatam. अज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुर्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूपः कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकम्। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांशां श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधा कृष्णपादान् सहगणललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश। हे कृष्ण करुण सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमो ओं विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रस्थाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिविकास स्वामिन् इति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्ण। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। हरे कृष्ण। Okay, so Hare Krishna everyone. So thank you for giving your association in this evening. I shall share my screen. So we have been discussing Srimad Bhagavatam. This chapter 18 and verse number 30 and 31st. So in the previous verses, so the Parikshit Maharaj, so he has gone to the hunting in the forest, and then after a long hunting, he was thirst and he came to the Shamika Rishi's ashrama. There he has seen the Rishi who was in the complete meditation, and then he was asking for some water to quench his thirst, but the Rishi was not responding due to his completely he was in the meditation, the samadhi. So at that time, the Parikshit Maharaj, he was a bit angry. So after that, so he was abhuta purvaha sahasa shutrubhyam adhitatmanaha brahmanam pratyabhut brahman matsaro manyurevacha. So like even Parikshit, he was a complete Vaishnava devotee of Krishna. He's pure devotee of Krishna. Still, he was a bit angry because he was kshutrubhyam adhitatmanaha. He was completely thirst, and then he was asking for the water, but he did not receive the water. So it is Brahmanam Pratyabhut Brahman Matparo Manyurevacha. So likewise, it is a wonderful and it is wonderful for the devotee to show the anger, but it is not ordinary. So here further in this, so the Goswami is further explaining here in the verse number 30, saying that after he did not received properly by the rishi, and then when he was returning back, he has seen there is a dead snake, and took that dead snake and put on the neck of the rishi, and then he has returned. And then once he returned back, and then he was started thinking, contemplating whatever he has been doing and what the rishi was doing, whether this rishi was really in the meditation or whether he is pretending. Likewise, or to receive a Kshatrabandhu like me, whether he was in the meditation like that. So Parikshit Maharaj was contemplating. So we are in the first canto, chapter 18, verse number 30. Satu Brahma Rusheramse Gatasum Uragam Rusha Vinirgachandan Dhanushkocha Nidhaya Puramagataha. Satu Brahma Rusheramse. So, and then that king Brahma Rushe Amse. So this Brahmarshi, that Shemika Rishi is Brahmarshi. He was meditating, crossing the three kinds of stages. It is Jagriti, Swapna, Shushuptushu. So these are three stages in the material world. So he has crossed these stages and he was in the Samadhi stage. So here he has been addressed as Brahmarushi. Satu Brahmarushi Amshe. So Amshe is his neck. And so Amshe is on his shoulder. And Gatasum Uragam Rusha. Parikshit Maharaj, he has seen Gata Asum, the Uragam Rusha. Uragam is the snake which is lifeless. Gata Asum, it is already dead. Rusha, he was in the angry mode. Vinirgachan Dhanushkotya. And what he did while leaving Vinirgachan Dhanushkotya, taking his bow with the tip of the or edges of the bow, what he did, Nidhaya Puram Agata, and he took that Uragam, that snake, and put on neck of the rishi, and then he went Nidhaya Puramam Agataha. Nidhaya Puram Agataha. So translation for this verse. While leaving the king, being so insulted, picked up a lifeless snake with his bow and angrily placed it on the shoulder of the sage. Then he returned to his palace. Okay, purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. The king thus treated the sage tit for tat, although he was never accustomed to such silly actions. By the will of the Lord, the king, while going away, found a dead snake in front of him, and he thought that the sage who had coldly received him, thus might be coldly rewarded by being offered a garland of a dead snake. In the ordinary course of dealing, this was not very unnatural. But in the case of Maharaja Parikshit's dealing with a Brahmana sage, this was certainly unprecedented. It so happened by the will of the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here in this purport, Prabhupada is mentioning that anything is happening in a devotee's life, it is completely under the supervision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But it mentions this was not very unnatural. So it is generally when we are in thirsty, if we are asking, and if we don't get any water, even though simple water, then it will be very, everyone would get angry, disappointed with that particular situation, just simple water. But here, in Parikshit case, it is wonder. So here, Parikshit is a devotee. Devotees, they would not get anger at all. They're always tolerant. Titikshavaha, karmikaha, suhridaha sarvadehinam, ajata satravaha jantaha, sadavaha sadabhoshanaha. These are the qualities of a devotees, sadhus. So here Parikshit is a Rajarshi. He has got all the qualities of a Vaishnava. He is a pure Vaishnava. He has got all these sadhus qualities. But here it is happened by the will of the Lord. Okay, so further we shall see in the next verse and then we shall discuss. And further he was been thinking, Yesha kim nibhrutasesha karno militekshanah mrusha samadir ahosvit kim no syat chatra bandhabihi Yesha kim nibhruta ashesha. So whether this particular person's meditation, nibhruta ashesha, that mode is how it is, karano milit ikshanaha, he is simply closing his eyes. Karano milit ikshanaha, and whether this is mrusha samadhi, which is a kind of false samadhi or false pretending that he is in a meditation. Mrusha samadhi, ahosvit. So, and he still reminded in that way. It is so, kim to syat kshatra bandhabihi, whether to receive me, which is, I'm not a, so he is just, even though he is a proper kshatriya, Parikshit Maharaj, and then he is comparing himself like a Kshatriya Bandhu by a lower Kshatriya. So to receive me, whether he was in that way, likewise Parikshit was contemplating. Yeshikim Nibrutasesha Karano Militekshanaha Mrusha Samadir Ahosvit Kim Nusyat Kshatriya Bandhabihi. He was contemplating. So let us see Prabhupada's translation. So upon returning, he began to contemplate and argue within himself whether the sage had actually been in meditation, with the senses concentrated and eyes closed, or whether he had just been fying trance just to avoid receiving a lower kshatriya. And purport by Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So the king, being a devotee of the Lord, did not approve of his own action, and thus he began to wonder whether the sage was really in a trance or was just pretending in order to avoid receiving the king, who was a kshatriya and therefore lower in rank. Repentance comes in the mind of a good soul as soon as he commits something wrong. Srila Viswanatha Chakravarti Thakura and Srila Jiva Goswami do not believe that the king's action was due to his past misdeeds. The arrangement was so made by the Lord just to call the king back home, back to Godhead. According to Srila Viswanatha Chakravarti, the plan was made by the will of the Lord. And by the will of the Lord, the situation of frustration was created. The plan was that for his so-called misdeed, the king could be cursed by an inexperienced Brahmana boy, infected by the influence of Kali. And thus, the king would leave his hearth and home for good. His connections with Srila Sukadeva Goswami would enable the presentation of the great Srimad Bhagavatam, which is considered to be the book incarnation of the Lord. This book incarnation of the Lord gives much fascinating information of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord, like his Rasa Leela in the spiritual covered damsels of Rajabhumi. This specific pastime of the Lord has a special significance because anyone who properly learns about this particular pastime of the Lord will certainly be dissuaded from mundane sex desire and be placed on the path of sublime devotional service to the Lord. The pure devotee's mundane frustration is meant to elevate the devotee to a higher transcendental position. By placing Arjuna and the Pandavas in frustration due to the intrigue of their cousin brothers, the prelude of the battle of Kurukshetra was created by the Lord. This was to incarnate the sound representative of the Lord, Bhagavad Gita. So, by placing King Parikshit in an awkward position, the incarnation of Srimad Bhagavatam was created by the will of the Lord. Being distressed by hunger and thirst was only a show, because the king endured much. Even in the womb of his mother, he was never disturbed by the glaring heat of the Brahmastra released by Ashwadhama. The king's distressed condition was certainly unprecedented. The devotees like Maharaja Parikshit are powerful enough to forbear such distresses by the will of the Lord, and they are never disturbed. The situation in this case was therefore all planned by the Lord. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So here, whatever Parikshit Maharaj, he has been contemplating about the Rishis, Semika Rishis meditation. So this meditation by these sages, it is, they sit in the Suchodesi Pradistapa Vijitasana Asanam, Brahmacharya Tapasaucham, Swadhyaya Purusharchanam. This is generally the devotees or the sages, it is the duty of the sadhus. So they sit in one place and prepare themselves to sit and concentrate at the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That is Vaikuntha Leela Abhidhyana Samadhanam Tatatmanaha. And they're always meditating on the Vaikuntha Leela Abhidhyana Samadhanam Tatatmanaha. And the Lord, that is the meditation, is given in the Sankhya philosophy by Kapil Bhagavan. Completely meditate. And there are three different kinds of yogis. That is, one is the one who is Brahmeti, meditating on the impersonal Brahman, that is, which is troublesome. And second one is the meditating on the Paramatma feature. So it is the partial experience. This is Pradesha Matram Purusham Vasantam. Just a partial realization of the Lord, that is Supreme. And then Paramatmiti, Bhagavan iti sabjate, and the Supreme Personality of Godhead, realizing the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he himself as the Anu, and Supreme Personality of Godhead as the Vibhu, and he surrendered himself. There is a devotional service takes place. So there are three different kinds of yogis. So here this Semika Rishi, he is completely transcended. That is what we understand. But we haven't seen how he was engaging in his meditation, how his mood was. But here Parikshit is contemplating whether this yogi or this Shemika Rishi, whether he is pretending himself to receive me, a lower Kshatriya. Likewise, he was contemplating. So it's sadhus generally, but it was a very rare situation that it is unprecedented. It is happened by the will of the Lord. When there is two people are coming in close contact, one is Vaishnavas and Brahmanas. Vaishnavas are always respecting these Brahmanas. We also see one of the pastime with the Kumaras when they went and they have come across the for Jaya and Vijaya. There is some conversations, and at that particular time, the Lord glorifies the Brahmanas, and also at the same time, he also glorifies a sadhus, a devotees, whoever are tolerating. He mentions that ye brahmanan mahidya kshipato archayantaha tushchet hrutaha smita sudokshita padmavatraha vanyanuraga kalayatmacha vadghunantaha sambodhayanti aham iva aham upakutastaihi. The devotees, they always think if Brahmana are saying, even though they are angry and they're saying in rude words, harsh words, at that time, a devotees, they think that it is Krishna only speaking through the Brahmanas. Sambodhayanti aham iva aham upakutastaihi. Such kind of people who are thinking that Brahmana is speaking, the Lord is speaking through the Brahmanas, and such kind of Vaishnavas, they are taking my heart. So he is glorifying one side Brahmanas, and he is also glorifying Vaishnavas. So that is the Lord's, how Vaishnavas are always surrendering, and how Lord protects both the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas. So then the Kumaras, they glorify the Lord. Brahmanyasya param dhaivam brahmanaha kelate prabhu vipranam devadevanam bhagavan atma daivatam. the Lord protects all the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. He knows. So, but anything is happening, Syapo Mayeva Nimita Tadavet Vipraha. This Syapa is or curse, whatever is happening, it is just by my arrangement only. So, likewise, the Lord only says. So, here, a Parikshit is a Vaishnava, pure devotee, and another side, a Rishi, and the child is going to curse later on. He was a little bit a small boy, and then his mood was he was influenced by the Kali. So that is what the Prabhupada is mentioning. So inexperienced Brahmana boy infected the influence of the Kali. But however, even though he was a boy, it is a natural that if any person is coming and offending the father, getting angry on the other person, third person, it is a natural. And here, once again, there is always a cooperation between the Brahmanas and the Kshatriyas. So this is also mentioned in the scriptures. So here, when the Kshatriya is doing opposite to the Brahmanas, when at the time something is going to happen. At the time there is something is going to happen. So here, in ordinary situations, Brahma asujat vumukuto yushman atma parichayah chandomaiha tapovidya yogayuktan alampatan tatrānāya asuritasman dho sahasratta sahadrapat hridayam tasya brahma kshatramangam prachakshate. So these Brahmanas, they are here to establish all the chandomaiha tapovidya yogayuktan alampatan, to guide the society through the Vedic by giving all the Vedas and instructing the people in general how to elevate themselves from the platform to the platform of Krishna consciousness. That is their duty. And then Kshatriyas Tatrānāya Asuritasman, and to protect these Brahmanas, and they have come from the arms of the Lord. Tatrānāya Asuritasman Doh Sahasrat Sahasrapat Hrudayam Tasya Brahma Kshatramangam Prajakshate. So Brahmanas are the heart of the Lord, and Kshatriyas, they are the shoulders of the Lord. Likewise, they are mentioned here. So this boy, being a Brahmana, and he was about to curse the king. So now there is being a conflict here. So now here Prabhupada is mentioning, so this is a king should, the plan was that for his so-called misdeed, the king would be cursed by an inexperienced Brahmana boy infected by the influence of Kali. So for his good, and here these connections with Srila Sukadeva Goswami would enable the presentation of the great Srimad Bhagavatam. So this Srimad Bhagavatam is once again incarnation of the Supreme Personality of Godhead in the literary book incarnation of the Lord. This is Idam Bhagavatam Nam Puranam Brahma Samhitam Uttama Shlok Charitam Chakara Bhagavan Rishihi Nishresaya Lokas Dhanyam Swastaya Namahan. It is the book incarnation of the Lord. So this incarnation of the Lord gives much fascinating information of the transcendental pastimes of the Lord. So like he is Rasa Leela with the coward damsels of Rajabhumi. So by hearing the Srimad Bhagavatam, what happens? Anadhopasamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje. So this is all kinds of anadhas will be anadha poshamam sakshat bhakti yogam adhokshaje. All these inauspicious things will be eradicated out, and devotional service to the Lord, it happens. Yasyam Vaishruyamayanam Krishne Paramapurushe Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsaha Shoka Moha Bhayapaha. Just by hearing Krishna Katha, Bhaktirutpadyate Pumsaha, in the heart of all these conditioned souls, the devotion, it sprouts towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So that pastimes have to be manifested now. So that is why this Parikshit is being put up into that kind of situation. And whoever hears Krishna Katha, so there will be, it is mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita, Janma karma che me divyam yevam yo yoveti tatvadaha chaktva deham punarjanma naiti mam yeti sodhjuna. And whoever hears my appearance and disappearance and activities, whoever understands this by tattva, they will not take birth again, O Arjuna. So here, so for that purpose, Krishna manifested this pastime. So here the specific pastime of the Lord has special significance, because anyone who properly learns about these particular pastimes of the Lord will certainly be dissuaded from mundane sex. That is the main thing here. So it is detachment from the material world. It is material world is called a Maithnagara, where it is the sex is the prominent. So once we detach from this material world, we will be eligible to go back to Godhead. And then we have God, and then we can develop the love towards the Supreme Personality of Godhead and rasas and mellows. Then that will be continued in the spiritual world. So, and further Prabhupada says, the pure devotee's mundane frustration is meant to elevate the devotee to a higher transcendental position. This is higher transcendental position. So this is in ordinary situations, follow chanting and regulative principles and doing all activities. But sometimes there is some kind of frustration happens in one's life, then means it is for to elevate the devotee to a higher transcendental position. We see in the past times, in the last 50 years since our society started, so we have seen so many pastimes, so many examples, all of this. Everything is now a katha, Krishna katha and Bhagavata katha. Every devotee's story is a Bhagavata. So here, and by placing Arjuna and Pandavas in frustration due to the intrigue of their cousin brothers, it is prelude of battle of Kurukshetra was created by the Lord. It is once again Arjuna was put up in that situation to get Bhagavad Gita. And also Uddhava met Sri Krishna when he was leaving the material world from out of the material naked eyes. So at that time Uddhava Gita came. And likewise further, so many prayers have come, so many instructions we can see in the Srimad Bhagavatam. So likewise here Bhagavad Gita is manifested. And also similarly, Parikshit being in an awkward position, the incarnation of Srimad Bhagavatam was created by the will of the Lord. So here only a great soul can be participated in the Lord's pastimes to manifest a bigger thing. Otherwise, not ordinary people. So we need to see this one. It is the great people, pure devotees of Krishna only will be placed in that kind of awkward positions for a higher purpose. So and then here, being distressed by hunger and thirst was only a show, because the king endured much even in the womb of his mother. He was even he was never disturbed by the glaring heat of the Brahmastra released by Ashwadhama. He was also mentioned Veera in the mother womb itself. He was able to tolerate that Brahmastra weapon, glaring heat of the Brahmastra. Later on, the Krishna has protected at the time itself. As soon as Krishna comes in touch, so he is completely free from all kinds of sins and everything else. So he is already pure. So he was, Krishna has protected Angusta Matra Mamalam स्फुरत्पुरट मौलिनम अपिव्य दर्शनम श्यामम तरिद्भाससम अच्युतम श्रीमद्दीर्घ चतुर्बाहुम तप्त कांचन कुंडलम क्षजाक्षम गदापानिम सर्वतो. So the beauty of Krishna is glorifying. It is like so that Parikshit, he has seen the Lord in the womb itself. How Lord is protecting Parikshit with his mace, with the Kaumodiki Paribdhamantam Ulkabham Gadam Muhuhu. So again and again this Kaumodiki is trying to, it is Paribhramantam Ulkabham Brahmayantam Gadam Muhuhu, just always rotating around the Parikshit to protect. And Parikshit has witnessed it, and then later on when he became when he come out from the womb, then he was started observing whether it is this person I have seen in the womb, likewise. So that's why he got Parikshit. Okay, so and he was the pure devotee in the womb itself. And so it is now he is being distressed by hunger, thirst was only a show. And the condition was certainly unprecedented. Devotees like Maharaja Parikshit are powerful enough to forbear such distresses by the will of the Lord, and they are never disturbed. So when Parikshit was in the Digvijay Yatra at the time, wherever he goes, all his forefathers, grandfathers, Pandavas' stories were being spoken in different Krishna kathas, and also how they are related to Krishna and all. At the time, Parikshit used to give so many valuable jewels and wealth and clothes to all these people. So he understand wherever Krishna katha. So now, when this is now he is in this kind of situation, put into awkward situation. It is the situation in this case was therefore all planned by the Lord, all planned by the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is this is also Lord also says that he would be directly taking in charge of the devotees. And also he also gave assurance to his devotees, like for example Jaya and Vijaya, they are going, my, you say, his Lord says to them, mai sambhramba yogena nischira brahmayeranam pratyesham nikashame kalena alpyasa punaha. You will be coming back to me, and do not worry, so all auspiciousness to you, even though you are in always thinking of me. Mai sambhramba yogena, in the angry mood you will be thinking of me. So likewise, he gives assurances, and then he says further, the Lord says, Bhagavan anugo aha yatam ma bhashtu astyam brahma tejah samadhopi hantum neche matum tume. Even though I'm able to counteract this brahma teja, but I do not want to do it. But it is my will only. You are going there. So here Lord says to them, and here also in the Parikshit case, it is also the Lord's will, by the will of the Lord. It is Lord's will. In the devotee situation, the Lord only takes care of it. And at the same time, Lord also, the Brahmanas in other way, they have completely dedicated their lives. As soon as in Krishna consciousness, all of our devotees, they also go through the initiations. First initiation and second initiation is completely Brahmana. At that time, we depend only on Krishna, nothing else, no more material stuff, only pure spiritual stuff. And then in such a way, he's the complete dedication. That's why Lord is completely says that I will be satisfied with the Brahmana. So he says, Naham tadadmi yajaman havirvitani chotad gurutplata aghan gurutpla madhan chotad gurutpla madhan bhuktam yad brahmanasya mukato. He says the Brahmanas, the meaning is the ghee rice, it is given in the fire sacrifices, but I do not like that one. Yad brahmanasya mukato charatonagasam. When the Brahmanas are eating a little bit of rice balls into their mouth, then tustasya may avitaihi nijakarma pakaihi. I will be completely satisfied. That is my real food. Tustasya may avitaihi nijakarma pakaihi. That is my real food. In such a way, I accept through the face of the Brahmanas. When compared to even though I am the Lord of all the sacrifices, Naham tadadmi yajamana havirvitani chotat ghrutaplamadan krutbhukmukena. That is through the face of the fire. So I am more satisfied. Tushyat pratha smita, he says, Mai tustasya abhidaihi nijakarma pakaihi. I will be more satisfied eating through Brahmanas' faces, because Brahmanas, they dedicate their lives, always waking up early in the morning and serving to the Lord and doing all activities, chores, and cleansing, keeping themselves in the clean state. Likewise, all of their life spent with only the Lord. They do not engage much in the material world. So likewise, Lord also reciprocates with the Brahmanas. Here, even though that Shringi is going to curse later on, he will not be said anything. So he was a child. So likewise, Semikrishi, he is a also a devotee. So likewise, everything will be in proper, so that Srimad Bhagavatam will be coming into this material world for all of us to hear and relish. And as soon as we relish, पिबन्ते भगवत आत्मनसतां कथामृतं श्रवणपुटे संभृतं पुनन्ति ते विदुषुताशयं व्रजन्ति तच्चरण सरोरुहान्तिकम्. And whoever hears and drinks this nectar through the ears, and then they will be completely relieved from this all myriad kinds of nescience, and then back to Godhead. They'll go back to Godhead, and they don't take any more pleasure in this Tadvai manasa, because it is the Vaisa Tirtham. This place is for a cross. This material world is for a place for a cross. The Paramahamsa, they don't take pleasure in the material things. They always enjoy in the pastimes with Krishna. So that is here very beautiful Srimad Bhagavatam is going to come, and everything is a show for a Parikshit Maharaj. So and he was contemplating how he has done his activities. They're all Vaishnavas, they are responsible always, but anything has happened, it is a Lord's arrangement. Okay, so I stop here, and I request the devotees, if you have got any questions or any comments or feedback, or if you have got anything else, so please kindly ask our question, so that we will take further, jump into deep discussions. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Thank you, Prabhuji, for this nice class. And once more, you are on this platform facilitating. It's very nice of you. We see like Parikshit Maharaj doing this kind of thing, putting the dead snake around the neck of the rishi. And we all know that that was the will of the Lord. And we always say that why bad thing happened to good people. Similarly, you see when the four Kumaras, when they went to see Lord Vishnu, they also, Jay and Vijay, they were great devotees, just doing their job. So that was also the will of the Lord, because how can the four Kumaras in Vaikuntha get angry? This is a bit too much like for great devotees like the four Kumaras to get angry. So they were there, and the Lord was there also. So the Lord waited when Jan Vijay was cursed, and then he came out. He could have come out before that also. So all is the will of the Lord, as you can see. There's a pastime of Gajendra, Indrajanya king. He became Gajendra. He was also sitting nicely and meditating, just because he didn't pay obeisances the sages. We see Draupadi's case. Draupadi was friend of Krishna, right? Close, very close to Krishna. Actually, Krishna was calling her Krishna also. She was being disrobed in the assembly of great king. So I think if we don't have this knowledge, most of us will say, okay, why it happened to her? Why so many people were there? Even Bhishmadev could have helped her, but he didn't do anything. But that was the will of the Lord, just because the Lord wanted to show us that when we raise our hands up and we call for him, he immediately comes. We don't see him with our eyes because we have got these 40 eyes to live in this material world. But I can tell you for sure, many devotees have experienced it. That they call out for Krishna, Krishna is there. I have great stories to tell, but I will not tell today about seeing Krishna's hand behind everything that happened in my life. So similarly, we can say here, Parikshit Maharaj knew that if this had happened to him, he could have countercursed, he could have done anything. But he took for the, he knew the Lord wanted me back home, and he accepted whatever was going on. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. So beautiful. Yeah, so he also understands Parikshit. He doesn't want to counteract the Brahmanas curse, just like a Jaya and Vijaya, even though they understand, they just fall on the lotus feet of the Brahmanas, and they don't want. See, these Brahmanas, it is very, very powerful. We should not get conflict into Brahmanas or Vaishnavas at any point of time. This once, the Diti Maharani, she says, Vadham Bhagavato Sakshat Sunaba Udara Bahuna Asase Putror Mahyam Mat Kruddhat Brahmanat Prabho. And she says, when Kashyapa says that your children are going to be demons, then she says, and your children will be killed by the Lord, then she will be very happy. And she says, Asasya Putror Mahyam Ma Kruddhat Brahmanat Prabho. So the Lord is killing, I am very happy. But Ma Kruddhat Brahmanat Prabho, and they should not be fall under the anger of Brahmanas. So that is very, very important. Na Brahmadanda Dagdasya, na Bhota Bhaidasya cha, na Rakasha Anugruhnanti, Yam Yam Yoni Masugataha. That is very powerful. Brahmanas and Vaishnavas anger, it is very, very danger to one's life. It is spiritual or material thing. We need to be very careful. Na Brahmadanda Dagdasya, na Bhota Bhaidasya. Whatever the life we take birth in, there will be no one will give adoration to such kind of living entities who have made offenses towards the Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. Okay, so that's a beautiful thing.
Prabhuji, I have a question here.
Yes, ma'am.
So what happens? Today's Brahmanas are not as powerful as they were before. So does the same apply to somebody offends a Brahmana, a so-called Brahmana?
So so-called devotees, they also this is like all the living entities in equal vision. That is the devotees. And Lord also says that one. So that is devotees' vision. And Brahmanas, whether he is a Brahmana or not, we are not worried about it. Because a Vaishnava is everyone in the equal vision. Vidya Vinay Sampatti.
Yeah, I think Vaishnava is higher than Brahman actually.
Yes, so Vaishnava is higher than Brahmana. Yes, because even Brahmanas are also respect the sannyasi or sadhus who have completely dedicated themselves to the Supreme Lord. Yes, Mataji.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Okay, any other questions or any feedback or any comments or any corrections? If there are no further questions or no comments, then very happy.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Amogh Prabhuji, thank you very much for your wonderful class. You have such a beautiful Sanskrit and understanding. Thank you for explaining beautifully. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Mataji. It is all devotees association, so words will come automatically like that. Satam prasangan mama veeri samvido bhavanti hrutkarna rasayana kataha tadjoshanadvasa apavarghavatmani shraddha ratihi bhakti anukramishati. Automatically flows that one. It is no one is we are just following as an instrument. Okay, it is our Lord's and the Lord's Bhagavatam and devotees association. Thank you so much, Mataji. If you are all happy, so we shall conclude our session. Vanchakalpatarubhyascha
Patitanam pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji.
Thank you, Prabhuji, for a very nice class. Thank you.
Thank you, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you, Hare Krishna.